My name is Tim Weber. I am the CEO, co-founder of Diverso Energy, which is a Toronto-based geothermal utility business. So we started Diverso Energy about 9 years ago. Prior to that, we owned an engineering firm that had been focusing 100% on geothermal for the last decade prior to starting Diverso. And we realized that, in order for geothermal to make any kind of entry into the mainstream market or to gain traction, there were some major barriers to entry. One being the cost, and two being the complexity and risk associated with that. And we thought we need to treat geothermal like any other utility, to put it on a level playing field with natural gas or any other electricity. So we created a geothermal utility where we design, own, pay for, and operate the geothermal. Not much different than a gas company owns and operates natural gas infrastructure. Well, I think, just like my last statement, we've been around, almost 20 years, a couple of hundred projects, about 40 to 50 multi-residential. So I think two things that really distinguish us. One is just history and experience, data, reputation. And from a practical standpoint, we're really the only geothermal company that's fully vertically integrated with engineering, all aspects of construction, drilling, but also our capital. So we were recently purchased by a large fund out of Europe. So now all of our project capital, everything is all under one roof, relying on no outside resources. The utility model has allowed it to evolve because now we're working with larger mainstream developers and we're also working on larger buildings. We've done a 65-story tower, 40-story tower, so high density, large-scale projects that 10, 15 years ago were unheard of. And a lot of that's through innovation in drilling and integrating it into the building design, allowing large, high-density condos and apartment buildings to integrate geothermal. Municipalities are integrating their green standards. Toronto probably being the most aggressive with the TGS, Toronto Green Standards. And there's a very aggressive emphasis on carbon and energy reduction. So they're putting a cap on how much a building can consume, which is driving developers and engineers, consultants to depart from the norm and look at alternatives. And geothermal, especially geothermal where someone else is paying for it, is a great option. Number two, I think, is just proof of concept and momentum. Enough developers are seeing other developers they know doing it. They want to be innovative, but they don't want to be bleeding edge. So we're right at that kind of early majority stage that provides that level of comfort. It's hard for me to predict. After 20 years, I never thought we would see geothermal at this level. It's being talked about on every project. So I think in the next 10 years, you're going to see a majority of multi-residential buildings in the GTA adopting geothermal, which leads to kind of the obvious barriers to growth, and that's resources. One being drilling resources. We're trying to get out in front of that. We've pre-ordered several rigs, so by next summer, we'll have a whole fleet of new rigs. We're bringing in drillers from Alberta that are formerly drilling in the oil and gas industry and rolling them into geothermal, and they're loving it because drilling is drilling. Rather than drilling for oil, they're drilling for renewable energy. So, the irony of that is certainly not lost on me, but so that's kind of one way of getting out in front of that. Oh, it's hard to predict. I think right now the future's looking pretty bright, and like any business that's kind of on the leading edge, it's really we're staying true to our core values, true to our core business model, staying focused and just kind of trying to manage that growth appropriately and see where it takes us.